Hi, good evening. Thanks for joining. It's time. Let's start the webinar. I'm Sheikh Farid, a smart manufacturing and MES solution consultant for 8 years. I'm located in Singapore. I've been working with ATS for 11 years now, working on various SCADA, MES, manufacturing operation management projects, usually going to customer sites, helping them to improve their facility and operations, and move towards a digital goal. We also help in digital road mapping. Today, we are going to look at OEE and how we can raise the bar of the plant performance. Thank you for joining. Before we get started, I would like to ask a question. At any point during the webinar, you can enter in the webinar control panel. If then I will answer all your questions at the end of the webinar. There is also a white paper with more information that can be downloaded from the control panel. Yeah. So moving on. Today, organizations are on aggressive growth path or looking for sustainable operation excellence. To deliver this, project managers are expected to raise the bar and make most out of the available resources. The value of information is inversely proportional to the time required to reach the intended audience and directly proportional to the number of people receiving it. In practice, when using paper to capture downtime, the information about stoppages only becomes visible at the end of the shift or next day, right? But it is already too late to react. So it is not useful and valuable anymore, right? So if the mission operators is aware of a stoppage, only the operator can react. But if the information is shared with the maintenance supervisors and managers or planners, the information becomes more valuable as more people can react to resolve the issue. Today, we are going to run through the what, how, and why of OEE. Most of you will have come across OEE and probably know what it is, but we are going to run through this so that we are all talking about the same thing here. Some of you will know how to implement OEE and may even already implemented an OEE system. We will run through some tips and guidance for truly value adding OEE capture system. Then finally, often it is something that we just do or that we should do, but we don't necessarily know why we should. So we are going to look at this as well. Yeah. So let's start off now by looking what is OEE. Yeah. So everyone sees OEE as a single number. Yeah, something like 65%, or if a production process is exceptional, then perhaps it would be around 85%. But there is more to OEE than just the headline number. OEE is a combined metrics that shows the effectiveness of a mission, process area, production line, facility, site, or enterprise. The most common and the calculation that we prefer is availability multiplied by performance multiplied by quality, which is equal to OEE. Yeah, it shows how well something is functioning compared to its optimal and provides valuable insight into the true capability of production process to meet the demand placed upon it. Let's drill down. So now we're going to look into the lower level metrics that makes up the OEE. Each of these captures has a percentage and can give really meaningful information into the production environment themselves, right? We have availability based on planned and unplanned stops. If it's 100%, it's always running during the planned production time. Yeah. And performance, there's slow cycle and micro stops. 100% score means the process is running as fast as possible, which everyone wants it, but there are some consideration. And the quality, produced product defects and good parts determine the quality. If the part is produced as 100%, definitely it's a defect-free production, right? And let's look at availability first. Okay, to the relevant key metrics associated to availability are the mean time between failure, that is the average time between system breakdowns, and the mean time to repair, which is simply the time that it takes to repair those failed devices. Associated losses are like breakdowns and product changeover. Availability takes into account all the events that stop planned production long enough where it does make sense to track a reason for being down, typically several minutes. So this means that any scheduled maintenance will not affect your availability or its associated OEE score. Then the product changeover will, however, contribute to your OEE score. So a production line area that has a deal with high product variety and associated product changeover, it will its availability metrics will be impacted. There may be other things that can be done about this, but so it's a key that you understand what is behind the data before capturing the metrics across the site areas, right? Availability is calculated as a ratio of runtime to planned production time. So availability is runtime divided by production time. Runtime is simply the planned production time less stop times, where stop time is defined as time where the manufacturing process was intended to be running but was not due to unplanned stops like breakdown, planned stops, changeovers, runtime. Runtime is also equal to planned production time minus the stop time, right? If you're suffering from a machine breakdown, bringing down your availability metrics, then it would be worth looking at your maintenance schedule and making a transition from reactive to planned and then to predictive maintenance, right? Now we look at the performance. Performance takes into account anything that causes the manufacturing process to run at less than maximum possible speed when it is running, including both slow cycles and small stops. The losses associated are like running at reduced speed and minor stops. The performance is actually a ratio of net runtime to the runtime. It is calculated as performance idle cycle time multiplied by total count divided by the runtime. So idle cycle time is the fastest cycle time that your process can achieve in optimal circumstance. Therefore, when it is multiplied by the total count, the result is the net runtime, right? The fastest possible time to manufacture the parts. So performance is equal to the total count divided by the runtime by ideal runtime. Okay. Do not be tempted to use the reduced cycle time since since the standard speed for OEE that are slower than the optimal speed that could be achieved by the machine, person or area. If you do this, then the OEE will look good, but it will not be a true OEE. You will be hiding the potential production gains that can be made by getting the process closer to the actual optimal time for the process, right? So performance should never be greater than 100%. If it is, usually it indicates the ideal cycle time setting is wrong. Yeah, it is like maybe too high. Now, if we look at quality, quality in manufacturing looks at all the good parts, meets the quality standards, including reworks, the parts that requires reworks. The OEE quality is similar to the first pass yield in that it defines good parts as parts that successfully pass through the manufacturing process for the first time without needing any review. Right? The losses are like rejects that are created or part of the startup or initial run after the product changeover while the process adjusting to the change. These can often be reduced by investigating and improving the machine setup or sequencing of different part type running through the process. So quality is equal to the good time divided by the total count. This is same as taking the ratio of fully productive time. Only good parts manufactured as fast as possible with no stops to net runtime. That is the all the parts manufactured as fast as possible with no stops. Right? As with performance, unfortunately, if your quality metrics is too high, then perhaps this is too good to be true, and you can again have wrong impression. Unless you have already been through the process of improving your quality to get it to where you are, then it would be worth investigating your quality and perhaps investigating in a quality system to confirm you're getting the good parts that you think you are. Yeah. And once again, you have your measurements and understand what is behind them. You have a baseline of your facility, and you can start looking at the data and creating a strategy on what you're going to target for improvement. The measurement itself is not the end result. If you measure OEE and do nothing about it, then you have just created an expensive dashboard. The value is in collecting the right data, then acting upon in a meaningful and strategic manner. So let us show you how. So, uh, so we have now looked at what OEE is. So we are going to look at how we should implement the OEE system now. Clarity is vitally important if you want your OEE metrics to be meaningful and usable. You need to have your data and you need to be clear about what the data represents. Set your downtime event start and end definitions. Understand when a downtime event starts and when it ends. Commonly, downtime will start with machine fault. Right? You have to define your OEE calculation and stick to it. Create your metrics in the same way across your facility. Compare between different processes can be difficult due to different restraints and the requirement of the process at least you are being consistent, then you can make an allowance for different areas based on the same metrics. Define your mission states and prioritize for them for downtime reasons. Yeah? A mission state is every possible condition that your mission or process can be in. For example, faulted, running, blocked, etc. These states can be customized for your particular process and can go as detailed as you like. But should you be given priorities? But there should be given priorities which stated is your more detailed. So for instance, if a machine is faulted and starved, the faulted state should be given the higher priority and the record and recorded against the machine as that is the state that you want to identify as a real issue. If you are prioritizing your production scheduling, then perhaps you would prioritize starvation against machine fault. Define your produced part with their associated standard production time so that it is understood how production can perform. If your process takes longer to produce certain parts, then get it defined against the optimum speed for the process. Make the information available to people. By making the information available to people means that anyone can start to notice areas where they can improve and make adjustment on the fly. This obviously will lead to needs to be monitored and controlled to a certain extent so that the adjustment that are not being made without awareness of any initiative being carried out by your continuous improvement team. You know, collecting data that you cannot see will not bring any value. Visualization. It is said it's common to see 30% improvement in OEE numbers just by displaying them. By showing the information to people can start to see the correlation between the incident parts and the maintenance. This valuable human information can be captured, especially if it's easy and accessible reporting tool is deployed, right? By creating virtual dashboards and reports, you will be able to visualize how the facility is performing and also respond to any breakdowns or shop floor issues, right? Moving on, in one example, we have there's a finding where the findings were displayed on shop floor in real time and shared with people. So while everyone saw the stats on the shop floor, the machine operator noticed that the stoppage time of the machine was extremely high when making a certain product than when compared to others. So just by visualizing this information and sharing with people, valuable insights can be attained with a very little effort. Right? The data being captured can help you to target the improvements. Yeah, but can also give you a realistic understanding of your shop floor. By integrating this data through the levels of integration pyramid, the system and logic will be able to improve better. Fundamentally, your business planning will be more accurate when it knows a machine is down or operating suboptimal. Integration has been a key trend in the industry for years, and this is only increasing with Industry 4.0 and digital connected factories. In the same way that information must be visualized and shared with people, this is also true for systems, perhaps more. Yeah. By integrating your OEE and associated data in real time, your business decision can be informed and achievable. Okay. So we have now looked at what is OEE, how it's supposed to be implemented. Next, we are going to look at how we should implement an OEE system, why we should implement an OEE system. Right. OEE is a valuable metrics, as we know, for monitoring your production environment, giving an indication of how well your plant is performing on a high level. And then what aspect of plant is causing concerns when drilling down into the properties that makes up the OEE metrics. This understanding helps you to use the assets that you have to the best of their potential. Understand where the target valuable investment to improve production process, where it will make a meaningful difference. The real reason that you want to know your OEE is so that you can find out how to improve it, and also know when you make a change that it is improving your OEE. Our final tip, tip number 3, is effective root cause analysis, zeroing on the real issue. We must see the problem before we can find a solution. Right? So one example, we have that the production manager identified that the start stop was a major cause of the lost production on the machine. On investigation, the conveyor line person informed the production manager that during a single pause of a product A, the line stops. He opens a safety screen, realigns the product, and that catches the machine's door. Like there's a hook which catches on the door whenever it gets transferred. So closing the safety screen and the conveyor belt, then he starts up the production again. For every 2 seconds of real production, the stoppage is about 4 seconds of downtime. They identify that an incorrect die design and the placement caused the consistent stoppages. And the inputs was passed to the die design and die setter team. They realign the way the product drops onto the conveyor belt, eliminating the stoppage. Right. So it's how you identify the root cause, and then you find zero in on the real issue and find a solution for it. With the visualization and analytics of capturing the data discrepancy can be identified between your understanding of production and the reality of the situation. Lean initiative and business improvement teams will have a clear metrics to target and areas that are in need of improvement to focus on. As the data in real time and the improvement initiative can migrate to an agile approach. As I've already said, the value of OEE project is not the OEE metrics, but to enable you to focus in on and understand where the improvement can be made. The issue that you will find will not be limited to your shop floor or production areas. It can be others, yeah, like dye or other product changeovers. Here is what we have called a reference model. This is a reference model from ISA 95 standard covering the activities of manufacturing, operation, and maintenance. All of the ISA 95 activities that can be directly affected have been highlighted so that you can see the key areas that will affect your production control. But this does not stop there. By capturing this information and sharing it throughout your manufacturing operation management, you can affect the production cost, accounting, product and inventory control, quality assurance, maintenance management, material and energy control, and your production scheduling. The OE data can bring improvements across the 4 domains, right? Production, maintenance, inventory, and quality. By integrating this data real time across the domain, your manufacturing operation management becomes enabled for agile production decision based on up-to-date information. So now we have covered a high level of what, how, and why of OEE. maybe this could be a good time to have any questions. You can type it in the control panel below. Yeah. If not, I still would like to show you how ATS can help on OEE. So based on everything that we have talked about today with our experience within the manufacturing domain, ATS has created a template project based on plant visualization and OEE project. Yeah, it's an object-based templates that can be reused and expanded. Yeah. The intention has been to create a project that can be easily and quickly customized to represent your specific facility or area of focus. This intention is that this is a standard project that can be configured so that no requirement for customization and time-consuming work. Yeah, the solution is split into three main sections that dynamically adapts to navigation and operation interaction. Yeah, operator interaction. So you can have it in portrait or landscape. You can have it in mobile devices or on PC. Yeah. As you can see, this is a mobile layout. You can drill down to each section as required. I will show more. So here we have an overview, high-level overview of your plant, giving a visibility of key metrics of the plant among the top. You can see the key metrics on top, good and reject, the revenues and equipment efficiency. Yeah, and you see the line. Just a representation of your line. So you have multiple lines and each line have a certain number of missions and what is the status of the mission. So if it is green, running, red is faulted, gray is on break, purple is blocked, orange is starved, A means alert, there's something happening there for your maintenance team to see. Then we have another session where about a mission, a single equipment. So how it is being utilized, what is the throughput, what is the throughput? The bar below shows the last hours throughput in the last hours. The OEE metrics can be shown in the squares, or it can be shown as a chart, or we can always customize this as you require, and we show the KPI in trends. Yeah. And at a quick glance, you can see that we have the assistant. So you can also do a call for help, request maybe your the operators or maintenance or supervisor immediately. So the operator can just call for help through our portal, and it will immediately be published to supervisor. The supervisor will then act upon it, or maybe it depends on the type of help. The maintenance team can also be alerted. And all of this data is captured and stored in a standard SQL database and can be used for reporting. We have standard analytical tool, or you can use tools like Power BI to supplement analytics. And there's two mobile screens, which is for supervisor view and operator view. So the supervisor view gives an ability to run through the alerts and change their status to assigned or resolved, etc. Select from drop-down list, ability to select the person to assign the alert to and from a drop-down list of users. Operator has the ability to add the nodes to the alert system as well as raise alerts in the first instance against a particular mission. Um, ATS has been operating in the space for 30 years, and we know how to connect up shop floor missions and integrate them in a meaningful and value-driven system architecture. Right? The OE projects have been developed as a rapid, configurable, and deployable system that can bring meaningful insights and true value. If you would like to discuss further, then please do get in touch, and we would be happy to run through. this demo, or we can have other OEE demos available. Yep, thank you. We can still have any questions if you want. Mm, No, yeah, thank you then. I will close this session.